Most people go their entire lives never questioning why they keep ending up in the same relationships with the same kind of person, feeling the same kind of exhausted. Researchers at the University of Buffalo found that roughly 1 in 3 adults consistently report feeling emotionally drained by the people closest to them. But you already knew that feeling, didn't you? Not because you read it somewhere, because you've lived inside it. And unlike most people, something in you is finally asking why. You weren't always like this. There was a version of you, younger, lighter, who didn't apologize before speaking, who said no without rehearsing it 3 times first, who got angry and let it show. You had edges, you had limits, you took up space without guilt. Somewhere along the way, you learned that those edges made people uncomfortable, that your anger scared someone who was supposed to be safe, that needing things made you a burden. So you did what any intelligent, sensitive child does. You adapted. You softened. You became the one who kept the peace, absorbed the tension, and made sure everyone around you was okay, even when you weren't. And it worked. It kept things stable. It kept people close. It kept you safe. What nobody told you is that it also sent out a signal, one you're still broadcasting today. Psychologist Dr. Stephen Porges spent decades studying why certain people absorb other people's emotional chaos more than others. His research, known as Polyvagal Theory, revealed that your nervous system is constantly scanning every room, every relationship, every silence, not with your conscious mind, but with something far older and faster. He called it neuroception. And here's what that means for you. Your body learned at a biological level to detect threat and immediately move toward appeasement, toward warmth, toward fixing. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system was trained to treat conflict as danger. So when someone around you becomes cold or critical or unpredictable, your system doesn't say, "This is a red flag." It says, "This is a problem I need to solve." You feel responsible. You lean in. And people who need someone to lean in, they find you almost immediately. But here's what nobody tells you about where that training actually started. It didn't start with an ex-partner. It didn't start with a difficult friendship. It started with the first relationship you ever had, when you were small and had no other options. Children are wired for attachment above everything else, above comfort, above fairness, even above their own emotional truth. If the people who raised you were inconsistent, emotionally unavailable, critical, or just unpredictably warm and cold, your young mind didn't conclude they have a problem. It concluded, I need to be better. You started reading the room before you could read a book. You became fluent in other people's moods as a survival language. It's not a flaw. It's a blueprint your younger self drew to survive. The tragedy isn't that you drew it. The tragedy is that you're still living inside it, in rooms where you no longer need it. And here's where this gets harder to hear, because this channel will never just tell you what feels good. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that people with high agreeableness and low self-advocacy report significantly higher rates of chronic stress, anxiety, and what psychologists call invisible resentment, anger they can feel but were never given permission to express. The CDC's data on emotional exhaustion links prolonged people-pleasing behavior to measurably weakened immune response. Your kindness, left without a boundary, doesn't just attract the wrong people. Over time, it costs you your health. That's not dramatic. That's documented. And you deserve to know it. But here's what the research also found. And this is the part that changes everything. A landmark study out of Harvard's Human Development Lab identified that people with your exact profile, high empathy, strong relational awareness, deep sensitivity to others' emotional states, consistently outperform their peers in leadership, conflict resolution, and long-term relationship satisfaction when one variable is present. That variable is self-permission. The moment you give yourself permission to have needs as loud as your empathy, the entire dynamic shifts. Dr. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability confirms it. The people who are most capable of genuine connection are not the ones who feel less, they're the ones who stopped apologizing for feeling at all. Your sensitivity isn't the problem. It never was. It's been the most powerful thing about you, running without a boundary, handed to people who never earned it. So let's give you a new word. The world looked at you and said pushover. Maybe you even said it about yourself. But what you actually are is a high empathy adapter, someone whose nervous system was fine-tuned through real experience to read people with extraordinary precision. That's not passivity, that's a calibrated human instrument that was simply never taught to protect itself. The difference matters. A pushover has no awareness. You have profound awareness. You just haven't been given language for it until now. And if you're watching this and a quiet voice is saying, but maybe I really am just too much, or not enough, or somehow the common denominator in all of this, stay with me for one more moment. You are not the problem. You were the solution to a problem that was never yours to solve. You learned to be everything for everyone because at some point everything depended on it. That was real. That was necessary. And it is also done. What comes next isn't about becoming less kind, it's about letting your kindness become something you choose, not something you owe. It's about learning that the right people, the ones worth your extraordinary capacity to love, will never ask you to disappear to make them comfortable. They'll stay because of who you are, not because of how much you're willing to shrink. The comment I want you to leave below is this: what's one relationship in your life where you finally stopped shrinking? You don't have to have the answer yet, just sit with the question. Your kindness was never the problem.